If you always wanted to learn Figma but had zero clue of where to start, you're not alone because I've actually been in that situation before. I'm praised and I've been exactly where you are now. That's why I'm the right person to show you how this works. So welcome to Figma Masterclass for absolute beginners. Design hierarchy is simply the order of importance in your design. What the user sees first, second and third is very important. Have you ever come across an app with a crazy scattered UI? The reason for that is that proper hierarchy wasn't put in place on that design. So let's jump into our Figma canvas where I will show you how to become a pro in hierarchy. I have broken hierarchy under 3 parts. We'll be looking at visual hierarchy, color hierarchy, and sizing hierarchy. We'll be starting with visual hierarchy, which is dealing on sizes, which is one of the simplest ways to maintain hierarchy in your design. Notice that big element grabs the attention of the viewer before smaller elements. Taking a look at this, due to the level of importance, due to the level of hierarchy, the main text that the user is supposed to see is good morning, because you have to greet someone good morning before saying the person's name. So me looking at it, what first grabs the attention is my name, Praise on you, which is on the design, but it's very wrong, because that's not the level of importance on this design. The level of importance or hierarchy is following this order of good morning, then after good morning, then the name follows. Now let's fix this. Taking a look at the second design, you can now see how well everything looks in the eye. You can now see good morning first before reading the person's name. But on this other one, you can see that the attention that is trying to grab is my name, which is not the key feature or the key hierarchy on this design. So the main thing is a good morning, which should have come first when we are talking about sizes. So this is how visual hierarchy works. You just use your sizes to differentiate level of importance. Let's move on to the second one, which is talking about color hierarchy. Color management is one of the important aspects when you're talking about hierarchy. The ability for you to use your color and contrast is a very big flex if you know how to. Because if you take a look at this, you see that the one with the brighter color, the primary color, looks brighter than the one with the darker color. This second one here is giving dark mode, which is also okay. But when we're talking about color hierarchy, it's the one that has a lighter color that grabs the attention of the user first. Because it's really obvious that the first one is more attractive than the second one. Now take a look at the last one. If you don't know how to use your color and contrast, you may be falling into this trap. I'm using a darker color on the darker text inside a darker background, which is very odd. So you seeing this or anybody seeing this, reading through this kind of design will be very hard. So make sure you learn how to use your color management. That is why we use primary colors for some certain CTA actions. Then the last part, which is talking about spacing hierarchy, as the name is, that's just how it is, the ability for you to learn how to give spacing in your design. If you take a look at this first card, you can see everything is too close to each other, making it hard to read, making it hard to digest. But taking a look at the second one, you see how you'll be able to breathe and take each element one at a time. Because this first one is not giving that white space to make your design breathe just like this. You can steal my strategy that works for me, that can also work for you, which is making use of this summed up rule that I call 10-20-30 rule. So what does this mean? It means that I will give a spacing of 10 pieces to elements that relate in content. Then I will give a spacing of 20 pieces or maybe 30 pieces to elements that don't really connect in content but are on the same frame. Then 40 to elements that don't even relate at all. So using what I just said, the name here, this UI designer.praise, relate to the avatar here, simply because if you call this name, you're supposed to see the person's profile picture, right? So that is why they relate in content. So checking the spacing system between the avatar and this text, you can see is 10 pieces right here. Next up, I will nest deeper into this frame to something like this. And you see that the distance between this text here and this particular section is 30. This is because they don't really relate in content, but they are on the same frame. In fact, they relate in content because if you talk about the person's name, you should talk about the ratings, the hours, the jobs he has handled, and all those stuff. So they actually relate in content. That's why I have to give a spacing of 30 pieces. Then elements that they don't even sync alike, just like this section and the button down here, I give a more spacing system between it. And checking the spacing system, you can now see the distance between this button and the top section is 40 pieces. So it's more like giving this progression of 10, so 10, 10, 10, and 10. Quick practical challenge for you. Open Figma and create a pricing card and use this hierarchy I've taught you guys to guide your attention through the design. In this order of title, pricing, down to the features and the CTA. When you're done with this design, take a screenshot and observe it. If the level of hierarchy is focusing on the price and the CTA, you're on track to move to the next module.